Hey, so my name is Mike and this is Lizzie here. I've been wanting to do a YouTube channel for a while, so if you want, like and subscribe down below, and share this video. This is basically, I want to start a video because there's a lot of things I'm confused about. I'm Mike in America, but too many people want to say like they're white in America, Mexican in America. Like I don't understand a lot of things. And here comes my cat. So you might see my cat. So yes, this is how we do things around here. But we're gonna talk about all things, right? Like customer service. Lizzie has some interesting customers. So do
Yes,
I.
I do.
I'm also ignorant on politics. Like I got into politics because of Trump. Me and Lizzie we differ on that.
Yes, I'm a Democrat.
I am not a Republican. I'm independent. I want to go on the issues, not on the thing. So, just to get clarification, like, what do you want to talk about first? Like the fights last night?
Sure.
like, like the biggest thing, like I don't know if you guys are into UFC, but Lizzie usually comes over for fight nights, and we had to stop betting because Lizzie took all our money. We usually have a crowd, but like those fights were crazy last night. The last one where the guy almost lost his eye.
Oh yeah, he was crying and everything. It was sad.
Like I don't know if you guys are into UFC, but DC when he fought Stipe, he got poked in the eye and he's having eye trouble. Mike Bisping, with his eye, he had to get that injection into his eye and it's all black now and he can't really see well. And now this guy Muhammad last night, because of the UFC gloves, they're crazy. And
Yeah.
so what do you think of the fights last night?
They were pretty good, except for the fight before that, where what was it? It was determined
No contest.
no contest. Nobody won. People kneeing each other. When they're not supposed to, when they're down on their knees, and but they were pretty good because they were actually fighting and not just holding each other like
Right.
most UFC fights. They're just holding each other, wrestling, and yeah.
Yeah. And then what? Do you know the history of? I've talked to you about Angela Hill, right? The woman that fought last night.
No.
And this is where I gotta be. I'm unapologetic, like the black lady that fought last night, right? Like I don't know what we're supposed to call people anymore, like people of color, African American. Angela Hill, like she's a great fighter. Come to find out, like her grandparents were Betty and Barney Hill,
Oh,
the
wow.
first people ever recorded for an alien abduction. I believe her grandfather was black and her grandmother was white.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, there's my cat again. There's Elmer. So, yes, this is a little cat I found on the street. He's a little handful. But yeah, that's a UFC. We like to watch the UFC. But what I really like to hear stories about is like Lizzie's customers, right? I've been in customer service my whole life. It gets crazy, and people like take advantage. And I'm also one of those people that believe that when victimhood becomes monetary, there's going to be a lot of counterfeits out there. And like Lizzie's had quite a few people try and use victimhood as a way to try and come up on people.
Oh yeah, I had a customer a few months ago who, where I was working at the time, it was a black-owned business. Customer came in when I was, closing out my shift, and when you close out your shift, if you don't know, you cannot sell any lotto or lottery tickets. You have to account for everything. And customer came in and was like, "Oh," I told him I can't do your lotto slip for a couple minutes. And he was like, "All you have to do is put it in." I said, "No, I'm doing my end of shift, And he's all, "This is a black-owned business." And I looked at him like, "Okay, it's a black-owned business. Doesn't mean I have to give you preference." And he ended up going outside, coming back in with his camera, and said he was going to put me on YouTube and asked me the question, "Are you not helping me because I'm black?" Which pissed me off. And I took my mask off and I was like, "Dude, I'm Hispanic." Like, I was cussing. And I was like, "What the hell?" And he ended up leaving all pissed off. And I was like, "Go ahead, put me on YouTube. I don't care." And I told my boss what happened the next day, and she's like, "Good for you." It doesn't matter if this is a black-owned business. If you're telling them why you can't help him at the moment, then he needs to accept that.
Yeah, and like we deal, like I used to deal with that all the time. I was in the food industry, man, and like it, the philosophy has changed. Like I used to work for In-N-Out Burger, and I remember when I was 16, like Mark Taylor, like the COO or whatever, like he's a bigwig now, but he was a manager that hired me back then, and like I remember this one time, this customer came up with a bite of a burger left, and they're like, oh, my burger is too underdone, and I was like, Mark, like, are we really gonna remake this burger? And he's like, Mike, like. Only 5% of the customers are going to try and screw you over, so we got to take care of the 95%. We're just going to remake it. It's not going to take us anything. And that's back in the day, like when you actually can trust customers. Now, like victimhood's everywhere. And that's what I don't get, right? And like that's where like I'm confused. Like we named this channel Baffled Confused because I'm baffled and confused because like people will tell me I have white privilege, but they've never walked a day in my skin, right? Or like I can't relate to someone that's black that says that like they fear the cops because I've never walked a day in their shoes. Like, are they really fearful? Because like my parents feared every time I went out.
Yeah.
They didn't know if I was going to come back alive. You know, I and that's where I'm confused. And you're a minority, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know if you're a minority anymore. You know, with
I still think I'm a minority, but
you're people of color out majority of the white. But so like what is it to be a minority in America? Like, do you see that it's because of your race, or is it socioeconomics, or is it because of hustle, or is it because of what you're taught as a kid? Because we've talked about culture before.
Yeah, I'm a minority just because I'm a woman.
True.
There you go. But I think a lot of people just play the victim. I mean, if you really want to work and do something, you're going to do it. And I think right now a lot of people are taking advantage of the system, getting unemployment. Like I got unemployment for a while, but then I couldn't do it. I was like, I need to work. And I went back to work, you know. I was making more money on unemployment, but at least I'm out there and I'm not at home, you know, doing nothing like most people nowadays.
Right, going and buying your purses and all that stuff.
Well, no, I save money to buy my purses, and that's why I work. I save money to buy what I want.
Right, you want to treat yourself well, you know, and it also gives you some self-esteem when you're actually working.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I don't get. Like people tell me I have white privilege, and like my mom posted something on Facebook the other day, and she's like, "Oh, if you remember getting this cheese, you were on government assistance back in the day." And I was like, "I remember getting that cheese."
I remember getting that cheese.
But I my parents never told me we were poor.
Yeah.
Like my parents never told me like we couldn't. Right. Like I've had a job since I was 12 years old. And like I think the longest I've gone without a job since 12 years old is maybe a month when I got fired. But like I've always worked since I'm 12 years old, and what, I'm 40. I'm gonna be 44 next Monday.
So why do you think they say you have white privilege? I don't get it.
Like I understand where people come with white privilege because like with the 1619 Project, and they're saying that like we were founded on slavery, and they don't understand like slavery came over from the British colonies, and it goes back further in the Romans and like in Africa, like it's everywhere, right? And I do understand with the Jim Crow laws and the redlining and all that with the housing, and we've kept minorities down, right? Like they couldn't get loans, they couldn't get this. That's no longer the issue. And I think by saying people have white privilege, they're trying to bring down a class of people in general and to a certain level instead of raising up a class of people, right? Instead of saying like okay, the black community is underfunded. And they're saying like white people have white privilege. Like how come we can't just bring black people up to the white class?
Yeah.
Or the white class. I don't think there is a white class. I think it's all socioeconomics, right? Because Oprah Winfrey, Michelle Obama talks about like how they've been oppressed. The first black lady of the United States. You know, one of the richest black women ever. You know, like I don't understand like how you can say that. Like, yes, The Rock had to fight his way. He had $12 in his pocket when he was in college, and like he almost wouldn't have made it, but like he persevered. I think it has to do with personal perseverance, and like I understand there's obstacles for everyone. Yeah. Right? Like I don't know what it's like to be a woman. Like I know my sister was sexually harassed at my first job by some people, and like I can't imagine what it is to be a woman. But my sister overcame that, and she's become the best in her field. Yeah. You know? we all have obstacles. So like I'm confused. Like, do you think that I have white privilege?
I don't think so. And I think I've met a lot of people of color, whether they're black, Mexican, that are at the top, that they're making good money. They have their own businesses. So I think it's just a matter of, choice, Some people want the easy way out. So what do?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, perfect example is like this stimulus check that just got passed. Like, how many of my friends are like bragging about how much money they're going to give because how many kids they have?
Yeah.
Instead of like, why are we spending this money? Like, we're coming out of it. Like, what, the gym's open tomorrow here in California? Like, schools are going back in. Like the money, $1,400. If that's gonna be the difference between like buying groceries and paying your rent, like that didn't happen last month.
Yeah.
That's been happening for a year. So like I don't get that $1,400, and people don't understand the stimulus package. Like, well, we're gonna spend like $30 billion in 2026 from this stimulus on schools. Like, why are we spending in the future?
Yeah.
Like, I'm all confused.
Yeah, and that $1,400, are they really gonna spend it on food and bills and whatnot? I see people that get unemployment come in the store every day, and they're the ones that are buying beer every single day, liquor. I'm like, I don't say anything, but they should be spending it on something else besides, their drinking habit every day.
Right. And that's the thing is like people want to play the victim so much, and like I get there are victims out there. Like, I'm not denying that there are victims. Just like how many here's a really touchy subject. How many black people died, unarmed black people died in 2018 from police?
I don't know those statistics, but
Do you think it's 1,000? Do you think it's 10,000?
no, I don't think it's that high.
If you were to take a guess off the top of your head.
In the whole world?
No, in the United States.
In the United States? I'll say 1,000.
Statistically.
Mm-hmm.
And even by left-wing media, 24, at the high, 24 unarmed black men were killed by cops.
Wow.
At the low end, it was 9.
Mm-hmm.
And like even in those, like just because they were killed doesn't mean they weren't driving a vehicle at the cop trying to kill the cop.
Yeah.
And like I'm not saying like there's not racist cops out there, but like how the media portrays everything, like you would think like it's 1,000 people, like with LeBron James saying like, oh, we gotta watch more go out, they're hunting us out there. It's like you're not being hunted.
That's not true. I don't believe in that whole defund the police and everything. My stepson's a cop. He puts his life on the line every day. And yes, there's good cops and bad cops, but you can't judge all cops by one bad one.
Right. And the whole defunding the police thing, right? I hope I'm not crossing the line here, but like with the defunding the police, like I understand like they're not trained properly, and if you defund the police, you're gonna have less cops out there, and like they're gonna be even less trained. So I think we need to fund the police more. And like I think this hits home with you with what you're going through, right? Like when you talk about defunding the police, and like what people don't understand is like Liz is going through some personal issues, and the cops can't do anything. If it was a cop's daughter involved, I'm sure they would have found the person that's after her daughter right now. However, like what did the sheriff tell you about the guy that tried to they were trying to arrest for attempted murder? What happened to him?
They said they arrested somebody for attempted murder, and he was out in less than 48 hours. Same thing with the person I'm having the issue with. They arrested him for the warrant for vandalizing my car, and he was out in 1 hour. Yeah,
so like it's our system that's broken, right? And it has nothing to do with race, because like and that's what bothers me is everything comes down to race. Like, when are we going to cancel Martin Luther King? Because everything's getting canceled. And Martin Luther King believed like judge me on the character or the content of my character, not by the color of my skin.
Yeah.
But yet everyone wants to be a victim. Like, oh, I'm black, I'm this, I'm that, or I'm sorry, I don't mean to just put it out black, but that just comes to the top of my tongue. It could be Mexican. or if you had to be Latinx now.
Oh God, please. I'm not Latinx. I'm Hispanic.
Well, according
You know?
according to all the privileged white people, you're not
No.
Mexican. You're Latinx.
No, I'm Hispanic and I'm Mexican American. So that's all I have to say. You know, all these different labels and stuff. I don't want them. Yeah, they're dumb.
But why not? Like you could get more. I get. Explain to me, because like you are in all this cancel culture. Like you have an opportunity to be part of it, right? Because you're Mexican American. Your father's down in Mexico. Your brother's down. Your daughter's down in Mexico. Like you have heritage down there, right?
Yeah.
And you're here in America, and you're a woman. Like you have every opportunity to be a victim. Like how come you don't see yourself as a victim?
Because I'm not a victim. I choose to, make choices. I choose to work. Like I work 2 jobs, and my dad always raised us like, whatever you want, you don't ask for it. Don't ever expect anything. You work for what you want. That's how he raised us.
Right.
And never to be the victim, and I just, why am I going to label myself to get something from what?
I don't know how people feel good about themselves.
To get something for what? No.
Right, and so like I struggle with this victimhood mentality, right? Because like I see the wokeism and all that. When I see the wokeism, like I told you, like I'm Mike in America. Like I'm not white in America. I'm not bald in America. Like I'm just Mike. Like I don't understand it. And then like I go into my customer the other day, right? And they were getting vaccines, and in my industry, a lot of the distributors are, I don't know if it's racist to say Asian. Like, are you supposed to be specific? He's Chinese.
Yeah.
So he went in and he took 2 of his coworkers in to get the vaccine. They all had the same pay stub. His 2 coworkers that weren't Chinese went in and they allowed him to get the vaccine, but they said he couldn't.
Wow.
And like maybe I'm becoming woke because like I thought that was racist, but was that racist or was there something else? And it's like I've seen it in my industry where people don't want to buy Chinese product and they assume everyone that's Chinese is bad, and it's
So
like
they're discriminating against the Asian person now.
right.
Yeah.
But you can't be a victim if you're Asian. Harvard and Yale, like they're discriminating all the time. Like they had lawsuits against them because they weren't allowing Asian students into school.
Wow. Yeah.
But if you're Asian, if you're white, or if you're Jewish, you can't be a victim. Even though, how many Jews died in the Holocaust?
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
millions? Like they're still persecuted all the time? And this is where I'm coming from. Like I'm lost. Like I'll tell you like up front, like I listen to like all different podcasts. Like I used to only listen to right-leaning podcasts, but now I'm listening to left-leaning podcasts. And the truth is like it's all framing. Like, and that's what bothers me is like our society is being diminished, I think.
Yeah. Like you said with the cancel culture, they want to cancel, take down this monument, do this and that. But don't people realize if you're trying to erase history, history will repeat itself.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the whole Dr. Seuss, like I grew up on Dr. Seuss. Like, I never found any racist. I didn't become racist because of Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, exactly.
Like.
And honestly, I think everyone has made a racist comment in their life. I know I have towards like Asian people, white people. I mean, that doesn't mean I'm racist, but I know I've done it, in the past. It doesn't mean that's how I feel, but, and they're removing all these shows and things you grew up with, and it was okay back then. Why isn't it okay now?
Right. I don't remember wanting to rape a girl because of Pepe Le Pew.
Right? Yeah.
So you said you were racist, or you made racist comments.
Yeah.
And like that baffles me because like in our world today, like they tell us like only white people can be racist.
Oh no. Mm-mm.
Because they've changed.
Everybody can be racist,
but
whether you're black, white, Hispanic. I mean, I know Mexican people that have made comments towards Salvadorians. Black people can be racist too. that they make comments to white people. I mean,
Even in their own race, the lighter skin versus the darker skin.
yeah, and that's the sad part, especially when you go into mixed families. Like my godson slash nephew, his mom's Hispanic, his dad's black, and he never felt a part of growing up in the black community or in the Hispanic community because he wasn't black enough, and because he was, in the Hispanic, it was because he was black and not just Mexican.
Right.
So,
And that gets back to like raising your kids, right? Because like we talk about like he wasn't black enough or he wasn't Mexican enough, but like did the Mexican side of your family like ever reject him?
No, never.
Did
No.
the black side of the family ever reject him?
No.
And so like it has nothing to do with the family unit, and that has to do with culture, right?
Yeah.
Not culture, but like our society.
Yeah,
Because like,
it was society, not the family wise.
because we're putting too much like emphasis on like you're this color, you're that color, and it's like, yes, like I'm not gonna be stupid and say I don't see color, but I see beauty in color. Like I don't see like hate in color. I don't see like lesser people in color. Like oh my gosh, it just baffles me. They've changed the definition of racism. Like you have to have power. So does that mean only black people could have been racist under Obama? Right?
Yeah.
And that gets back to like politics. Like I told you, I only got into politics because of Trump. Because Trump, I thought was a freaking joke. And like you don't think that I thought that at the beginning because you didn't hear that part of me. But like an actor, like yes, we had a Ronald Reagan, right? But like he got me into it because it's like okay, it's not gonna be all these lifetimers, and so I wanted to like get more involved, and then I saw all the framing around what people wanted, and it's happening now with Biden. Like people frame things, and like there's no more news. Like how do we get our information? That's why I wanted this YouTube channel to start, right?
Yeah.
Like if anyone subscribes to this and like wants to come on and like have a civil conversation like we're having, like I want to explore because like we're told we're not allowed to talk about politics. We're not allowed to talk about religion. We're not allowed to talk about. We're not like so many things, and like how do you change someone's mind, right?
Yeah. You gotta be open minded.
You got to be willing to be wrong.
Yeah, that too.
It baffles me because like. Just the other day, like yesterday, I was at my parents' house. Was it yesterday or the day before, whatever? And I told my dad, "Yeah, Florida's been open with their school since September." And he's like, "No, they haven't." He gets online and like he's like, "Well, what part of Florida?" Because he couldn't find like any parts that were closed. And it's like it's okay to be wrong. Like Florida's been open since September, right? Like there's been like 9 states that never shut down.
Yeah.
Now there's like 15 that are open, and now all of a sudden California's opening up. Like, gyms are open tomorrow.
Yep.
Schools are open tomorrow. Like
bars are opening on Friday.
But yeah, like we still have to wear our masks. Like be scared. Like it's amazing. Like Mark moved down to Florida, and like I guess when you walk around in Florida and you're wearing a mask, you look like an alien. They're like, "Why are you wearing a mask? Are you sick?" Like it just baffles me, man.
Yeah.
So what things baffle you, or befuddle you or confuse you about what's going on in the world today?
I guess all these, what we were talking about earlier, all these little new names, even for gay people, they want to be, cisgender and, all these things. They want to use pronouns. And I'm like, what is that all about? Like, and teach kids, what kind of pronouns do you want to be referred to as? I'm sorry, but a child, does not need to, be confused as it is about, just as they're going through puberty, and then you tell them they got to choose their pronouns. It's my opinion is it's stupid.
Have you ever seen the movie Big Daddy?
No.
With Adam Sandler?
Oh yes, I have. Yes.
That brings up that issue specifically, right? And yes, it's a comedy, it's not real life, but like look how he was trying to raise a kid. Like, oh, you make your own choices.
Yeah.
Well, I don't wear flip flops today, or like I don't want to take a shower. Like at what point? Like if they can make a choice to like decide their gender before their frontal cortex is fully developed, like why can't they get a tattoo? Why can't they start drinking? Why can't they smoke?
Yeah.
Why can't they do drugs?
Yeah.
I will inject them with hormones, and like I'm not trying to downplay the transgender community or whatever, because like we know someone that is transgender, and I she's a very lovely person, and I'll use her proper pronoun, she, that she wants. However, like to put that on a kid,
Yeah, exactly.
like
On a child, on an 8-year-old. You know, I saw something on the news not too long ago about this couple who was, you know, saying their daughter was transgender, and I was just like, wow, you know, how is that child transgender? How do they even know, you know? And then come to find out, I think somebody had said something about, oh, well, you know, the parents wanted a daughter, and they talked about it and talked about it. So I think that child was just like, okay, I'll be the daughter, you know, that they want, right?
bringing this back personal, right?
Mhm.
So, like my first job, like I worked with this wonderful family, and one of their daughters used to babysit me and my sister, and like their other daughter was around the same age as me, and they named her Michael because they wanted a boy.
Oh, wow.
Like I think Michael's a great name because that's my name, and like cool, whatever.
Yeah.
Name your daughter Michael, whatever. And just because they were named Michael, and because he played baseball with her and all this other stuff, like she didn't grow up like wanting to be a boy. Like
Yeah.
But if you put so much pressure on him from both parents, like I don't get it.
Yeah.
I and that goes back to even teaching our kids, like with the Dr. Seuss, right? Like if you don't teach them that, I wasn't taught like, oh, like I have one of the Dr. Seuss where it says a Chinese man on skates with chopsticks. Like, okay, like I don't see the racism in that. Like
I don't either.
Like, but if you teach your kid that's racist, then like you can't ever say that like Asian people use chopsticks. You know,
Yeah.
you can't ever say like I what can you say?
Yeah, then you can't be saying, oh, I want Mexican food, because then is that going to be racist?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what to do anymore because of Coca-Cola. Because you heard about the Be Less White?
Yes.
And we talked about this, right? Like if you're less strong, you're more weak. If you're less smart, you're more stupid or more ignorant. Because I'm ignorant, like I'm not stupid. However, so if you're less white, you're more what? You have to be more of a different culture.
That doesn't make sense, though. Are they going to also give, you know, have things be less black, be less Mexican?
But I can't be less white and more something else, or else I'm cultural appropriating, and then I get in trouble.
Yeah.
So you're asking me to be less. Like instead of asking be less white, how about like we lift up the black community? How about we lift up the Mexican community? How about we lift up people instead of bringing people down? You know, like that's where I'm coming from, and that's where I'm trying to figure out, like with religion and politics and schooling, and like people say, oh, don't talk about politics. Well, I'm a homeowner now.
Yeah.
Right. Like my sister I have a niece and nephew. Like everything is politics. Like the school's closing. If you don't realize like everything we encounter today is politics, like you have a lot to learn.
Yeah.
Right? Like small businesses, like understanding like, oh, they give these tax breaks to the rich. Well, yeah, they give the tax breaks to the rich because then they keep their employees employed, right? Or like, what do you think about the $15 minimum wage?
I'd like to say it's okay, but I don't think it is, because there's been people that are getting that $15 minimum wage, but then the people that have been there for years that are barely making 15, their wage isn't going up.
Right.
They're gonna and how fair is that? They've been there 5 years, they're making 15, and they're gonna get this new employee that needs training, and they're making 15 too. You know,
Right.
like that's just like, you know.
Who's fighting for this $15 minimum wage? Bernie Sanders, who's used to get rid of the millionaires and billionaires,
Yeah.
and like, or the Young Turks who make grip load of money, or Nancy Pelosi or AOC. They're feeding into their base instead of saying, you know what, like get a job. If you don't like your job, look for a better job once you have experience, right?
Yeah.
Like it's all about experience. Like how many kids today are working at 16 years old?
A lot.
Are they?
Well, I think the ones that want to.
Right.
You know.
But like it used to be like everyone worked when they were 16 years old. I was working at 12 years old.
Yeah, you got a permit. You worked. My son started working when he was like 15.
Yeah.
You know.
But now people don't want to work.
Yeah. No, they can get unemployment and get that extra money.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just so like I don't know where we go with this YouTube channel, but I want to explore things like this, like understanding like our differences. Like me and you had our differences because like you're extremely pro Democrat, and like I didn't like Trump, but I liked his policies.
Yeah.
And like that's very hard to say because as soon as you say you're for what Trump's doing, you're considered a racist. And it's like, well, if you're a racist just for supporting Trump, are you not a pedophile for just supporting Biden? and I get the joke because he's the sniffer, right?
Yeah.
And like I don't think he's a pedophile because he's our president. And I don't want, and so many people wanted Trump to fail.
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous. Like I don't like Joe Biden, but like I don't want him to fail because that means our country fails.
Yeah.
And like I don't get that.
And yes, I'm Democrat, but it doesn't mean that I agree with everything the Democrats do or stand for, and it also doesn't mean that I'm against everything that the Republicans do or stand for. You know.
So here's my question, right? Because me and Liz, we stopped talking for like 5 months, and then like we came back together.
We're both stubborn.
We're very stubborn,
Yeah.
and so like one question you never answered me is why did you vote for Biden? And it cannot be because he's not Trump. Like why did you support Biden?
Honestly, I didn't want to vote for Trump.
So you wanted a house plant for a president?
No, I don't think he's a house plant. You know, I think he'll make a good president. You know, we just have to wait and see. You know, and I believe that Trump divided this whole country.
How?
His tweeting, some of the remarks he'd make, especially early on, you know, making fun of people with disabilities, like, you know, things he said about women, and it's just like, I think the president needs to, you know, not be on Twitter all day.
Yeah.
You know, and needs to present himself a little better and not, you know, just get mad. I mean, even with the media, it was like anybody who disagreed with him, it's like, that's it. I'm not talking to you anymore.
Right.
You know, and I don't think that's how the president should act.
And that's where I didn't like how he presented himself. And like I'm not trying to defend what he did, but like we talked about framing, like everything was framed against him. Like like they made fun of Melania's dress when it looked like it was written on by kindergartners. They're like, oh, look at that, and it was made by an autistic kid. Like she was supporting something. Like they don't do their research, and I'm watching the press conferences right now. Like she has no answers for anything, and it's like how about we get some answers?
Yeah.
Like I don't understand about our border, right? Like we're allowing all these kids to be put in these, whether you want to call them cages or facilities, whatever. They're being locked up and they're at 100% capacity, but yet our schools are barely getting back open, and our kids are dying. Our kids are committing suicide. I say our kids because they're our future, right? They're not my kids.
Yeah.
I don't have any kids.
Yeah.
So, so it didn't matter who was on the other side as long as it wasn't Trump.
I don't know. You know, it could have been somebody different. You know, like, but I don't know. I don't know because there wasn't another candidate. You know.
So with all his bad tweets, which like I give you, he had the lowest black unemployment prior to COVID. He had the lowest Hispanic unemployment prior to COVID. He donated the most money to black colleges, supported the black community. He had 5 great peace agreements, or peace treaties, even though the press didn't want to give him credit. They said they would never last. Like all these things, and like the stock market, and people don't understand the stock market, that affects your 401k, your retirement, everything else. Like all these great things, like you can't see past just his tweets.
No, but it wasn't just his tweets. It was his behavior overall. You know, it was just his behavior overall. And okay, when have you ever seen a president that, you know, gets voted in and now we're wearing, anybody ever wear Obama hats? You know?
I wouldn't say they wore Obama hats.
Mm-hmm.
However, you always see Democrat stickers on cars.
Yeah, but they also have Republican stickers.
Very
I've seen
few.
them.
Very few.
Yeah.
Because if you're considered, and that's why I lean Republican, but like
Mhm.
I'm not Republican. But like Bush was Hitler. Bush Senior, they said he was Hitler. Bush Junior, they said was Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
They said McCain was Hitler. They said Mitt Romney was Hitler. Like every Republican is a racist in their eyes.
Yeah.
And so why would you want to tag yourself with those Republican stickers?
Yeah.
And Trump was very brash, like too brash.
Yeah.
To a point.
Exactly. Too much. And I don't think all those other presidents, because I like the Bush Senior, you know, I didn't have a problem with it, but for some reason our country got divided and there was all this violence going on, and you know, it's just like mind-boggling.
And like I want to push back on that because like when did BLM start?
I don't know. I honestly don't understand BLM because I believe all lives matter.
Right.
You know, and people can get mad if I say that, but you know, I believe all lives matter. My life matters.
Right.
Is it only black lives that matter? You know?
No, and so like I listen to it and I understand where they're trying to get to. Like we're not saying all lives don't matter. We're just saying at this moment Black Lives Matter. Like I get that.
But they've
aspect.
always mattered, I think.
Right, they've always mattered, and I get that aspect. But however, I need to quit saying but. However, Black Lives Matter started under Obama.
Mhm.
Obama started this division. Like when they had I forget which shooting it was, but there was a shooting where a cop killed a black kid. And it was a hands up, don't shoot, I believe.
Mhm.
And Obama says that could have been my son.
Mhm.
Like, there's been white kids that have been shot by cops, and
Yeah.
no white president ever said that could have been. Like, he started identifying
Mhm.
and making it about race. Like, Obama started this. Like when Obama first became, was running to become president, he was against gay marriage.
Yeah.
And so was Biden.
Mhm.
But now they're pro because it benefits them.
That and your views can change.
Your views can change.
Yes.
I totally wholeheartedly believe your views can change.
Mhm.
But I don't say that you've always believed it, right?
Mhm.
I don't erase the history. Like they want to erase the history. They're erasing our statues. They're erasing this. They're erasing that. And it's like the divide started, I believe, under Obama.
Mhm.
Like you can't say that our country is systematically racist when we elect a black president.
Yeah. No.
Yes, like there are races.
Mhm.
I've met plenty of them.
Yeah.
I mean, you admitted it. That you're racist.
No, I
No.
said I've made racist comments in
I
the
know.
past.
No.
You know.
So I think I'm not saying that I coined this phrase, but like he is not he is not the murderer. He's just the coroner. Trump was.
Yeah.
Like he didn't cause this issue. He just showed the issue, and that's what I believe. Because like the whole Charleston, like he did not say there was good people on both sides, meaning there was good Nazis and like on the other side. He was talking about the section. If you listen to the speech, right, like that's what he was talking about. But they framed it differently. Like it's all about framing. Like what's going to get the most clicks.
Yeah.
And that's what's driving me nuts now. Is like what's going to get the most clicks? How many news reporters have been laid off because there's no more Trump?
Yeah.
Like there's no news now. Like what are you going to talk about? Like they're still talking about Trump. Like they are a little bit, but you can't. He's out of office.
Yeah.
They're still trying to bring him back up. Like oh well, Trump did. Like well, Biden's in office now. Forget Trump. Like what's Biden doing? Like he was supposed to get 100. 100 vaccination sites, federal vaccination sites by the end of February. There's going to be 100 vaccination sites by the end of February. How many were there? 7.
Wow.
I'm going to do 100 million shots a day for the first 100 days. Well,
That's not even possible.
no, it is possible.
You
Because-
think 100 million a day?
No, sorry, 1 million a day for the first
Okay.
100 days. Sorry, I misspoke. Trump actually gave out 1 million shots on January 19th. So they were like he's back, he's saying what's already been done and trying to take credit for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I have an issue. Like, great, Biden, like just run your presidency.
Yeah.
You know, answer some questions. So, but yeah, back to the $15 an hour. Like, like I'm confused on how we could justify. Like how do you come up with $15 an hour? Like, who says that's a livable wage? Can you live in New York City making $15 an hour?
No. Every city, every state is different. And what people don't understand is if you raise a minimum wage, the cost of living is going up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people will be like, well, people could afford more. And I'm like, yes, you could afford more, but you could afford more when the prices were lower.
Yeah.
You can't afford more now because, like, I saw a tweet the other day, like, oh, I'll pay 50 cents more now, or 50 cents more for a French fry at McDonald's if they get $15 an hour. Great. But what about when they have to pick the potatoes? What about when they have to clean the potatoes? What about when they have to pack the potatoes? What about when they have to drive the potatoes? What about when they have to like put them in the warehouse in the new state? What about like that $15 an hour adds up so that it's no longer you're paying 50 cents more for a fry, you're paying $5 more for a fry.
Yeah.
Because everyone has to get their piece along the way. Just like in my industry, like, oh gosh, my industry sucks right now because like freight used to be $2,000 for a shipping container. And so like I'm in the flooring industry, right? And so in the flooring industry, we have this stuff called SPC. And so we get about 10,000 square feet in a shipping container. We can't fill it all the way up because it's so heavy. And so you get 10,000 square feet in there and it costs $2,000. So that automatically adds on 20 cents per square foot. Well, shipping has gone up to $6,000 to $7,000 a shipping container. So it's no longer 20 cents added, it's 60 to 70 cents added.
Yeah.
And like customers are getting mad because prices are going up. Well, they don't realize like the company that I represent, we only increase our price like 10 cents. So we're eating a lot of that cost.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how we're gonna survive.
Yeah.
Right? And that's scary and people don't get it. Like if you drive on the roads right now in California, like one of your other jobs is you drive, right? And like it's impossible to get in the slow lane.
Yeah.
Like you see all these trucks. And then Bernie's trying to get I'm going off on many tangents. Bernie's trying to get Amazon to unionize. Like, I thought you shouldn't jump into private companies. I thought,
Yeah, you're not supposed to.
right? Because like, Twitter's a private company, Facebook's a private company. Don't tell them what to do. But then you want to get on Jeff Bezos for not allowing his company unionized.
Yeah, no,
That's my
That's
issue
up
with
to the
Democrats.
people.
That's my issues with Democrats. And okay, let me get that. Let me pull that back. That's my issues with politicians. Because it's not just Democrats. Because Republicans do it too. They don't see their own hypocrisy in it. Like when it benefits them, like do this, and then when it doesn't benefit this, do that. And like Gavin Newsom, like let's shut down California, but yet my winery can stay open.
yeah,
Let's shut down California, but I'll go to eat.
yeah,
Like, how fair is that?
it's not.
Like, I want to go eat. Sorry, I'm going off on a lot of different
Yeah,
things.
we all want to go eat and not sit outside, you know. Yeah,
Right. And like gas prices are out of control right now.
yeah, they are.
Like it was down to like $2.39 like towards the end of Trump, and now it's up to $3.39.
Yeah. I don't understand the gas prices, you know.
And like I don't know how many viewers we're gonna get or how many comments we're gonna get. And I might be wrong on this, but like they shut down the Keystone pipeline, which like I understand it goes over Indian reservations. There's leaks, but then how do we back the Taliban pipeline, right? Like
Yeah.
I thought the Taliban was bad, so we kill our own workers and support somewhere else.
Yeah. No, that doesn't make sense.
Like, and I think that's the reason for our gas prices to go up. So what else do you want to talk about?
I don't know.
So tell me about what happened yesterday. I think this one interesting. Her customer service yesterday, where she had to
Oh.
lock her store down.
I did not lock the store down. My manager did.
Oh,
So there was a customer who came in and I'm gonna refer to her as she. She's transsexual, and she's not allowed in the store because she steals. You know, and last time she was there, she grabbed like 5 items and ran out of the store with them. And you know, so she walks in. My manager's like, "You're not allowed in here," and she ignored her. My manager went around, tried to tell her, and she just kept picking stuff. You know, comes to my register, and automatically I grabbed it and put it to the side. I was like, "The manager asked you to leave. You're not allowed in the store." You know, and my manager was mad, goes and locks the door, and I'm like, "Oh my God." I'm like, "Is this even legal, right?" I was like, "Oh my God," like, what's gonna happen, you know? Anyways, the manager was like, you know, whatever, and told her if she wanted to leave, she unlocked the door, whatever. And, you know, she told me ring her up, and I was like, "I can't ring you up. You're not allowed in the store." And so I got mad because she said, "You're being childish." And I looked at her and I said, "I'm being childish?" I said, "I don't even know what you are." And as soon as it came out of my mouth, I wanted to take it back, but I was like, "Oh God," you know, but I was just pissed. And she's just like, "Whatever." You know, my manager had me unlock the door, and she still waited around 10 minutes to see if the cops would come, and they didn't, and she left. You know? And I'm just like, "Oh God." I'm all like, I did not just say that, you know?
and the reason I ask about that is like we deal in customer service, like even in my field, like even when I ran restaurants, and like sometimes things come out because like you want to make that low blow because they're making you pissed off, and like people automatically think like, hey, like you're transphobic or you're racist or this, and it's like no, I you get me heated. I'm gonna say the worst thing I can because you piss me off, and it has nothing to do with it. And like I wish I could be more like you sometimes. Because like you just see how it is. Like she went off on someone at Starbucks one time. Like she just says how it is, and like she like.
I apologize. Do you remember? I did apologize to the girl after.
She did, and but like people think they get away with so much. Like she knows she comes in and steals. She knows she's not allowed in there. Or like when I was in the restaurant industry, like people would purposely call and complain when I was either at California Pizza Kitchen, Sbarro's, or whatever company I was working for. They would purposely call in a complaint because they knew they would get a free meal.
Yeah.
Like I could even go back and be like, well, "What did you order?" And like there was nothing in the record showing that they ate there. But if I didn't give them that free food, it was bad on Yelp.
Yeah.
It was bad on me. Like I could get fired, and like people don't understand. Like, and that goes back to the victimhood, right? Like the whole Karen. Like this is the big circle right here, right? Or the circle of life, whatever you want to say. Like I think it started with the whole Karens. Right?
Oh yeah, I got
Karens and
plenty
Kens.
of those. I got lots of Kens.
But that's where it started, right? Because like we bowed down to those Karens, and we bowed down to those Kens, and now everyone sees like if the loudest squeak gets the oil, right?
Yeah.
And so like if you can claim victimhood, if you can claim that like you were wrong somehow, like you're gonna get something for free instead of like, you know what, like they're human.
Yeah.
Like that's the best thing for me is like we have a friend. I'm trying to encourage him to go out on a date, right? And like or even to go get coffee, and like I'm blowing my cover here, but like I hope when like I take someone out and they get coffee or I take them out to eat, their order's messed up.
Why?
Because how they treat those people tells me a lot.
Yeah.
Because working in the food industry, like so many people get mad at the servers.
Yeah.
But the servers didn't cook your food. They would get mad at the manager. But the manager didn't serve your food.
Yeah.
Like, and they don't understand like you may be having a bad day, and they don't incorporate all that. Like when I was taking care of my grandfather, right? Like when he was in, like I was helping every weekend I'd go out and help take care of my grandparents. Like my customers didn't know that, but sometimes I had a short fuse because like I was tired.
Yeah.
And I can't be like, "Oh, forgive me." Like right now, I'm dealing with fibromyalgia, and I'm dealing with like emphysema, and like just different medical issues. But I can't tell my customer that.
Yeah.
But I do have a short fuse, and people don't see that, and like they just take advantage. Like I can't. I work for myself, right? And so if I don't work, I don't make money. Can I go to a medical doctor and get medical disability because of fibromyalgia? Hell yeah, I probably can.
Yeah.
But what's the point? Then I sit at home?
Yeah. And do nothing.
Do nothing? Give Jeff Bezos more money? Like, that's the truth, because, like, I love Amazon.
Oh, I know. When the pandemic started, I collected a lot of puppets. Hand puppets, finger puppets. I got a whole collection of them.
Yeah, but you got grandkids to have fun with.
Yeah. So,
But and it just baffles me, like people don't see people for humans.
No.
Like we're flawed, and that's where I want to, and that's sort of the purpose of this, is to understand, like, I'm flawed, right?
Yeah. We all have our flaws.
Like if we're gonna do this, and like who knows if this will ever get big and I'll get canceled, but like I used to be homophobic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the irony, right? And like, let's get into this, is like in college, I went to Humboldt, right? And so like Humboldt is very liberal, it's very like out there. I was cool with the lesbians because of my fantasies, right? And that's the truth, right? But like if you
Typical guy.
a typical guy.
Yeah.
But if you're gay, like I didn't want to get close to you because if you touched me, I may become gay. Right? Like that's how stupid I was, right?
Yeah.
And so like we moved into this house, and this other guy moved in, and it was a really weird situation. The owner lived in the basement. Or it wasn't even the owner. The owner's son lived in the basement. He collected comic books. He was a post office worker. He always locked himself in the basement, and it was really weird. And it was me, a gay guy, and a lesbian upstairs. All of a sudden, this guy started writing like the swastika and making gay comments, and he started handing out rocks to kids for Halloween. Like, he just did this really weird stuff that made us all feel uncomfortable. Me and the gay guy moved in together. In this little, and this is where I explored, like, I didn't understand what it meant to be gay. I was like, why do you like guys? He's like, oh, I like the broad shoulders, I like this. And I was like, okay, you're attracted to, right? It didn't ring to me. Like you touching me isn't going to make me attracted to.
Yeah.
Like, I'm already attracted to what I'm attracted to. And like, by me being able to have the honest conversation, I was able to get rid of my phobia.
Exactly.
But like, we don't have these conversations, and I can't ask you like why do you vote for Biden, or like what's it mean to be Mexican in the United States, or like what's it mean to be Catholic? Like if I can't ask those questions, how can I ever change my mind?
Exactly.
If we get rid of Dr. Seuss, how do we not understand that the Mulberry Street was written in 1937? Like, that was a different time.
Exactly.
If we get rid of Huck Finn, yes, it does say the N-word in there, but like, you teach your kids like this is what they said, and this is why we don't say it.
Yeah, that's how they used to speak.
You can't whitewash everything, because like when you whitewash it and you forget, like to judge George Washington, to judge Jefferson, to judge all our ex-presidents based upon the time they lived in.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know if you would have been better back then.
No, it was a different time.
Right, and like, we have to teach. Going back to like me studying, right? Like, Trump got me into some history too, right? Because like all this victim mentality, and this is, and like we've talked about this, like the first black woman to run for president was in 1972. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I didn't know about that either.
Until Trump became president. Yeah, she ran on the Democratic ticket too. But like, how many people know that? Like, how many people know what happened in 1891? Right? Like, because we call it Indigenous Day now, but like, no one understands what happened in 1891. Like, in 1891, there was a trial of 11 Italians, and like, they got lynched. It was the biggest mass lynching in American history, and it wasn't blacks, it was Italians.
Yeah.
And then the next year, all those families got paid $25,000 in reparations, and Columbus Day started for the first time. It wasn't because Columbus founded the United States. It was because it was the biggest Italian that they could come up with to be like, hey, we're sorry.
Yeah.
But yet everyone thinks like, oh, it's because he was this racist and he found, and it's like, no, like, understand our history. Like, when did the first woman run for president? Do you know when the first woman ran?
No.
It was either 1880 or 1870. like years, decades
Yeah.
before women were given the rightful right to vote.
Yeah.
Right? Like, talk about victimhood, right? Like, those women didn't see themselves as victim. That black woman running in 1972, she had every reason to play the victim card. She
Yeah.
said, screw this, I'm running for president. Right?
Yeah.
Like, it became, there's an old saying, hard times make hard men, and hard men make soft times, and soft times make soft men. And we're in that stage of soft men. And like I say men in general, but it's women too, right? It's in generality, because like my mom had a struggle raising us.
Yeah.
Like my grandma, like they lived in a bathhouse, they lived in a garage in like Washington. Like they grew up poor.
Yeah. So where was the white privilege there?
Right.
Yeah.
Like please go to the trailer park with the white people and tell them they have white privilege over Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, well, they have white privilege over the people in that trailer park. It's like, do they though?
No. I don't think they do.
We have socioeconomic privilege, depending where you're raised.
Yeah.
And depending on the work ethic. Right? Like Michael Jordan's dad, like, drilled him in basketball. That's why, and that's part of the reason Michael Jordan became good. Like, yes, Michael Jordan did his own thing too. I think LeBron James, like all these people had people driving them. Like The Rock had his dad to look up to, and his grandfather to look up to in wrestling, and like you have to have those heroes.
Yeah.
And those heroes don't always have to look like you either.
No, they don't.
So, I don't know, anything else you want to talk about? Or we can put off till next week?
I think next week.
Alright, so if you like what we're sharing or like what we're talking about, like and subscribe down below and share. And if you want to come on and share your views, we'll be more than happy to incorporate you. Until next time.
Okay.